Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 221 to the 2nd of October for the Ukraine war or the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So let's start off with the annexation situation. So the Russian Constitutional Court has approved the application to be admitted into the Russian Federation, or in my own words, application to be annexed. So they are currently being annexed, so they have passed the first stage out of the 4 stages. So following the Constitutional Court will be the lower house and then the upper house, and then Putin have to sign it into law. So moving to the usual Ukrainian reports of shooting down of Russian aircraft, 1 Ka-52 attack helicopter and 1 Sukhoi 35 attack ground support aircraft is destroyed over Ukraine. As usual, the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense do not inform about the location of the shoot down. Moving on to the Southern Front, or the Kherson Offensive, or the Great Kherson Offensive 2.0. So the super duper uber Kherson Offensive has restarted with the diversionary attacks at Davidiv Brid, where the Ukrainians have to reportedly redraw all the way to Berezhny after their 2 days attack on Davidiv Brid did not seem to work out, and Russian artillery worked on them. And as they retreat, the Russians actually strike at the Berezhny train station. So there was a concentration of Ukrainian troops over at this train station over here, at the Berezhny train station, and reportedly, according to the pro-Russian source, the strike has killed more than 100 people, or wounded more than 100 people. Only a dozen was killed, but it's still, a big problem. Then, as the Russian troops probably got drawn over to Davidiv Brid due to the 2 days of attack, the Ukrainians actually launched a main offensive over at the Kryvyi Front, and we first reported this yesterday's summary, where we reported that there is attack from Oskil and Petrivka direction southward, and what happened was that the entire line broke. So in short, the Ukrainian forces went as far as almost 30 kilometers from Oskil to Dudchany, and so before they even reached Dudchany, they actually captured Lyubimivka, Kreshenivka, Shevchenkivka, as well as Zolota Balka. The entire Russian line got broken because the Ukrainians launched overwhelming attack, which has been proven to be extremely effective in the Bakhmut Offensive. Over here, the Bakhmut Offensive, and then the penetration into the Kharkiv region, east of Kharkiv, and then they also prove it at the Lyman Front. And now they are using the same exact tactic, by overwhelming a single point of a Russian line, which the Russians are kind of becoming infamously poor at defending, where they always only have one line of defense, whereas the Ukrainians always have multiple lines of defense. So the Ukrainians broke through, and they captured these 4 settlements. So some pro-Russian viewers, or commentators, or members of this community say that I'm being very pro-Ukrainian, but my point is, you do not lose 4 settlements in a single day, one shot. Once you do that, that means your entire defense line has been routed. Your entire defense has broken, has collapsed, and all the forces that was defending in this region has retreated. So tentatively, this entire force, there is no indication that they have captured Ukrainka or Mikhailivka over here, or Novo-Oleksandrivka, or even Belyaivka over here. There is totally no information about this. The only information that we had was that the Ukrainians have blitzed all the way to Dudchany, where the Russian forces have retreated to, and they actually entrenched themselves over here. So there is already fighting reported in the middle of the night, 11:30 in the middle of the night, local time, where the Ukrainian forces is actually fighting in the area of Dudchany. Tentatively, based on the latest information that I have, there is actually no breakthrough to Berislav. So there was this massive I wouldn't say misinformation campaign per se, but there was this rumor that the Ukrainians have launched all the way and fight all the way to Berislav around here. This is a very important hub city just off Nova Kakhovka. But I disputed this information immediately because it's not possible to travel 70 kilometers in a single day in a war zone. If you're driving in a totally peaceful situation, yes, you can. You can even reach there in an hour's time if you drive fast enough. But no, not in a wartime situation where you do not know where the enemy is ambushing. Every step is going to be very careful. So the Ukrainians actually rushed down this road all the way to Dudchany, and this is where they got stopped. There is no indication where the Ukrainians branched off from, and there is also information coming out at Arkhangelsk that the Ukrainians have secured the town or city over here at Arkhangelsk. Previously, the Ukrainians have already captured this location, but the Russians were just outside the city and constantly, having this positional battle with the Ukrainians. However, latest information suggests that they have secured. This information that I have is coming from War Gonzo, and I believe that Zelensky himself mentioned that the Ukrainian forces have captured one settlement and one village in this region. So, according to pro-Ukrainian source, they are pointing that to Lyubimivka as well as Arkhangelsk as the two settlements that was being mentioned. But of course, in our information, we actually have more of them, and the fighting is now at Dudchany. While this is happening, there is reports of the Ukrainian forces accumulating near Davydiv Brid. So, according to pro-Russian source Ryber, they say that in the area of Davidov Brod, the enemy is building a large force to try to go on a counter-offensive again. So this is actually after the initial attack at Davydiv Brid, drawing Russian reinforcement to this direction. They launched a main offensive, and now that the Russians have to hurry back to defend against the cavalry advance, now the Ukrainians can actually launch an attack against a weakened Davydiv Brid line because the reinforcement has probably left to defend this major breakthrough. So this is a left, right, east, west situation. Pretty good strategy. Pretty good. They have a good commander. Perhaps the rumors that NATO commanders are actually commanding the war now might be true, perhaps. But no, is NATO officers really that much better? I have no idea. So anyway, moving on to the Zaporizhzhia Line, there is nothing on the Zaporizhzhia Line. And over at the Donetsk Front, Nevelsky is reported to be fighting again, according to the Ukraine Defense Ministry. The Russians are now attacking Pervomaisky from Pisky as usual. And according to the latest information from this pro-Russian source, they say that the Donetsk militia has captured half the settlement. So, depend whether you want to believe it. I have no idea. How do you put half on the map? Anyway, and then there was an attempted assault south of Opyne. So between Opyne and the airport, the Ukrainians actually launched a penetration. They secretly trying to move southward. They got spotted by the drones, and then they got actually bombarded, or attacked. So this penetration did not work out. And then there is no more fighting reported at the New York region, and that's it from the Donetsk Front. Over at the Bakhmut Front, where the main Russian offensive is going on, in case you guys don't know or lost track of the map, we are now here. Okay, so this is Southern Front, Zaporizhzhia, Donetsk, and now we are at Bakhmut. So at the Bakhmut Front, the Russian forces continue to be reported fighting at Orektivka, Zayseve, and then they are now fighting also at Vesela Dolina. According to War Gonzo, the Wagner group continue to move deeper into Bakhmut city, and then there is this very weird information coming out from I think it's War Gonzo, right? No, Slaviangrad. So they say that the Wagner group with fresh reinforcement entrenched themselves in the southern outskirts of Bakhmut in Opyne. And this is kind of weird because how do they reach? Because they are still fighting at Vesela Dolina, they are still fighting at Zayseve. I have no idea how they reach here. So that's why it's a question mark, because did they come through from here like this, or did they not? I have no idea how they reached here, so this one is a question mark. Until we have further information, we can't really actually map this information on how the Wagner PMC is actually entrenched in the southern part of Bakhmut city. So let's wait and see how this develops. Fighting is reported at Bakhmutske, and there is fighting reported at Soledar. So the usual, and seems really relaxed about everything, all the hell that is unleashed around Ukraine. The Russians continue to push in this direction. Over at the Siversk Front, there is fighting reported at Sperne, according to the Ukraine Defense Ministry, and there is fighting reported at Vimka as well. Same source. So on the Lyman Front, so Lyman has been captured. You can see now this part is captured. I was soon gonna rename this as something else. I haven't decided what name to name this yet. Because there is a advance towards the eastern side and the northern side. So on the eastern side, based on the latest information, we can confirm that Zaporizhzhia has been captured by the Ukrainian forces. So is Toske. So Zaporizhzhia actually have both pro-Russian and pro-Ukrainian source confirming this information. Toske coming from the pro-Russian side, and then the Ukrainians actually captured the entire eastern bank of this what river is this called? Zarebets River. So the Ukrainians captured Terny and Yampolivka. This come after the night before yesterday. The Russian forces of the 20th Army, so they are the 254th Motorized Rifle Regiment of the 144th Division of the 20th Army, came out of the encirclement to Crimea. So even this force at Terny, right, also withdrawn to Crimea. So everyone is at Crimea. So the current situation is that the Ukrainians continue to advance on Crimea now. They are now attacking from the village of Terny, moving towards Crimea, but they were stopped by Russian artillery. And then in the latest information, similarly, from a different Russian source, they continue to report that the Ukrainians are actually moving towards Crimea. At Crimea, there is reinforcement reported at Crimea. So according to the Bars 13 of the Russian Legion, the commander said that he explained that they are now building a defense at Crimea, waiting for the Ukrainians to attack, which I also think that is kind of a terrible idea. But so the journalist, the reporter actually asked, why are they doing that? So the commander explained that the reserve has arrived, but they arrived late, and as such, if you move reserve into a battle while the battle is going on, they will likely die while they are ongoing. So the reporter actually asked, if they have any hope of recapturing Lyman or the region over at Lyman, the Lyman region here. He actually say no, they don't have chance because there is not enough people. So this is the situation on the ground at Crimea, where the commander of the Bars 13, the so-called Russian Legion, actually admit that there is not enough Russian troops in the region to even launch a counter-offensive. So the front line is currently being prepared at Crimea. The Russian forces is currently entrenched. I read information that they are pulling up some heavy equipments like excavator or whatever, to actually build the entrenchment, which actually leads to pro-Russian sources criticizing that why they didn't do this earlier in other fronts, in the front lines, to build the entrenchments. So based on another Russian source, which also reported on the situation on the ground, the realities for the Russian side, they said that the process to ask for artillery strikes has been is too multi-stage, so too complicated. So by the time they get the artillery to strike, the targets are already dog-ear cold. And he also went on to say that the reason for the failures in the Kharkiv region was that there is a lack of forces, and also mistakes of individual military officers in the organization of the defense and the notorious 500s. They call it the refuse sneak, the contractors who refuse to fight and leave the battlefield. So this is the first time we have some kind of confirmation from the pro-Russian side, acknowledging the alleged troops leaving their positions, refusing to fight. That is constantly being propagated by the pro-Ukrainian side, or the Ukrainian propaganda, or from the Ukrainian government, where they always say this story about Russian troops refuse to fight and leave the battlefield. And then this is the first time we actually see, but they say that these are actually contractors, which could actually mean regular forces as well, because the regular Russian soldiers are also contractors. They are actually a contract. They have a contract, military contract. So depends on the translation. This can refer to quite a number of different people. So he said it continues to add that they leave strategically important positions, and then late reserves, and also lack of coordination between different units on the ground. Then they also lack modern reconnaissance means, which means they are lacking drones. So it's a multitude of different stuff that leads to the collapse of the Russian lines, and I don't think they're going to fix this problem anytime soon, which means that the lines are likely to continue to collapse. So it will depend on whether the mobilized troops will they be better equipped and better trained. If the situation continues, then with the very high speed of operation by the Ukrainian side, we will likely see more Russian collapse, even with more troops on the ground from the Russian side, if this is a case. And over at the northern side of this Lyman Front, the Ukrainian forces is now attacking the area of Borova. So this is reported by pro-Russian source, Ryba, that is already fighting around Borova. We have no information of Ukrainians capturing any of the settlements south of Borova just yet, but this speed of the Ukrainian advance is mind-blowing, right? I think it's very, very impressive. They only just captured Lyman and they are already on the offensive on 3 different directions. So this is something that I have criticized Russian military before, where they're actually too relaxed. Once they captured a ground, they routed the Ukrainian troops from their defense position. They do not press on their advantage. They wait and wait and wait, and then the Ukrainians are able to entrench themselves. But you can see the Ukrainians do not make this mistake in the entire offensive since the start of September. The Ukrainians always press on their advantage and continue to put high pressure on the Russian forces, and the Russians just don't have time to entrench and defend the position. They have to just travel far away to a natural choke point where they can actually defend themselves. So expect more emotional damage. So pro-Russian viewers. So emotional damage is coming to you a lot. And over at the Oskil Front, the action is also seems to be really bad for the pro-Russian side. So the Ukrainian forces at Kupiansk, on the eastern side of Kupiansk, they have captured Sinkivka, Petropavlivka, as well as currently advancing into this region so-called the Olivovsky Yar. So this Olivovsky Yar is actually this region of this, maybe it's a valley or no, I haven't really gone and checked the geography. This looks like a valley of sort. So this entire region is the region now the Ukrainians are trying to capture, and they are trying to move towards Mykolaiivka and Oyansky, which I'm quite sure the Russians are not entrenched over this position, because this is a very out of the place situation. This away from the main road, so I don't think there will be Russian forces entrenching over here, and this will lead to some collapse. I would probably do a video on my own assessment and analytics as we go along later. Maybe later or tomorrow. I see how. Let's let the things develop. Maybe I would map and draw the arrows and see where the Ukrainians could possibly go. But as of now, I think the Russians are screwed. Anyway, moving to the Zaporizhzhia region. the attack from Voronezh towards Tverdanka. The fighting is still ongoing. The Russian forces are defending pretty well here. As usual, as I mentioned, the Russians are using this natural choke point to defend their position. Of course, I think the Ukrainians could have just went around if they want to. So let's see how this goes. Maybe the commander here is not creative enough. Anyway, this is the Oskil Front. So this is the summary for the day of 221 for the 2nd of October. And we are likely to see more actions over at the Southern Front as the Great Kherson Offensive 2.0 carry on. And we'll also probably see a massive collapse or the beginning of the collapse of the Oskil Front, where the Ukrainians captured the rest of the Kharkiv region. Crimea is likely to hold, but I believe that based on what I have seen the Ukrainians do so far, they are most likely to go north. Instead of, they'll probably besiege Crimea, and then they actually drive off to a different direction and break the connection line between Sviatove and Crimea. So anyway, emotional damage all around for the pro-Russian side, and hope you guys enjoy. Talking about the Ukrainian viewers. I hope you guys enjoy this week. Not sure what will bring next week when the annexation is completed. So anyway, this is the summary, and I'll see you. And remember to press the like button and subscribe. See you in the next update.